Is there any stopping Bitcoin? The cryptocurrency hitting an all-time high again today.
Right, you've heard these terms by now. Bitcoin mining, the blockchain, Doge.
The environment.
You can capture the natural gas, put it in a generator. That electricity can power a Bitcoin rig that is mining Bitcoin.
When most people first hear the phrase Bitcoin mining, they imagine something like a dusty cave full of workers digging for digital treasure. But the truth looks nothing like that. So grab your virtual hard hat, because we're about to uncover what Bitcoin mining really is, and why it's absolutely essential to how Bitcoin works and stays secure. Before diving into the mining process, let's quickly refresh how Bitcoin functions. Bitcoin runs on a decentralized network of computers around the world. Whenever someone sends Bitcoin, special nodes called miners step in to verify those transactions. They bundle them into a block, and each block is cryptographically connected to the one before it, forming the blockchain. The miner who successfully adds a new block earns a reward in newly created Bitcoin. That means mining serves two purposes. It adds new blocks to the blockchain and it introduces new Bitcoin into circulation through the block reward. But how does this actually work? You might have heard that miners solve extremely hard math problems, but a better way to understand it is this. Mining is basically a giant, high-speed guessing game. Every block has a block header, containing a timestamp, a reference to the previous block, and a special number called the nodes. Miners guess different nodes, combine the number with the block header's data, and run everything through a cryptographic hash function. The output is called a hash, which is just a fixed-length string of characters generated from that data. Creating a hash is easy. The real challenge is finding one that meets the exact requirements set by the Bitcoin network. Right now, the network performs more than 500 exahashes per second, an incredibly massive amount of computational power. Why so much effort? Because the network regularly sets a target hash, and only hashes that are less than or equal to that target are accepted. Imagine rolling a 1,000-sided dice. Rolling under 250 is fairly achievable. Rolling under 10? Much harder. That's essentially how Bitcoin's mining difficulty works. The lower the target, the harder it is to find a valid hash. The first miner to produce a valid hash wins the block reward, and the entire guessing race begins again. Bitcoin also adjusts this difficulty automatically. If more miners join and the network becomes faster, blocks would be found too quickly, so the system raises the difficulty. If miners leave and the network slows down, it lowers the difficulty. This keeps the creation of new blocks, and new Bitcoin, steady at roughly one block every 10 minutes. So yes, mining is a giant guessing game, but it's not random for no reason. This system, known as proof of work, forces miners to spend real resources, computing power and electricity, to prove they're contributing honest work. This not only creates new Bitcoin but also protects the network from fraud or tampering. As Bitcoin grows and more miners join, it becomes increasingly difficult and expensive for anyone to attempt altering transactions or rewriting the blockchain. And if you're curious how much power mining consumes and how all this energy usage impacts the environment, stay tuned for the next part of the video, where we will dive into the tremendous need of power this miners consume.
Is there any stopping Bitcoin? The cryptocurrency hitting an all-time high again today.
By now, Bitcoin mining, the blockchain, Dogecoin. Cryptocurrency is having a notable...
Is Bitcoin really a climate disaster? Around the world, Bitcoin mining is putting noticeable pressure on local environments and energy systems. It demands enormous amounts of electricity and relies on vast computing power that consumes extreme levels of energy. This pursuit of digital autonomy comes with a cost, one the planet often feels first. Yet many people see Bitcoin as a revolutionary technology capable of reshaping the world. Some even imagine a future where global trade flows entirely through Bitcoin. But instead of headlines celebrating innovation, Bitcoin often receives attention for its energy consumption and its alleged environmental damage. Especially the claim that it significantly contributes to climate change. So let's break these accusations down and see what actually holds up. Before discussing environmental impact, it's important to understand the value Bitcoin provides. Critics often target Bitcoin's energy usage, but many essential technologies, like the internet or global refrigeration, also consume massive amounts of power. They're accepted because they provide enormous value. This reveals the real assumption behind the criticism. Some believe Bitcoin provides too little value to justify its energy needs. Some argue that Bitcoin is useless, or simply a speculative tool for the wealthy. Others call it the largest Ponzi scheme in history. But these assumptions ignore Bitcoin's core purpose. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency that enables fast, borderless, secure transactions without relying on governments or banks. It is maintained by thousands of independent nodes, which of course require electricity. Bitcoin adoption is actually highest in developing countries. Communities struggling with political instability, human rights issues, hyperinflation, or failing banking systems often turn to Bitcoin for financial protection. For many people, this isn't a luxury, it's survival. During the war in Ukraine, crypto played a crucial role. The government accepted crypto donations, and many citizens escaped with their savings stored in Bitcoin. In Lebanon, where banks locked citizens out of their own accounts, many people turned to Bitcoin as a financial lifeline. And across Asia, Nigeria, Belarus, and parts of Latin America, activists and protesters use Bitcoin to bypass censorship and oppression. Now let's examine the issue that sparks the biggest environmental debate: electricity consumption. Bitcoin's power usage is often compared to entire countries, like Switzerland or Malaysia. But according to the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, Bitcoin consumes around 116.77 terawatt-hours per year, which equals about 0.56% of global electricity use. And since electricity makes up only 20% of global energy consumption, Bitcoin uses roughly 0.19% of global energy. To measure climate impact, we need to look at carbon emissions. These depend on whether miners use fossil fuels or renewable power. Cambridge estimates that about 38% of Bitcoin's energy comes from low-carbon sources like renewables and nuclear. This results in roughly 63 megatons of CO2 per year, or 0.13% of global emissions. However, these estimates rely on regional averages and do not account for miners using off-grid renewable sources. Co-locating with hydro or wind plants, or mining with carbon-negative energy like waste methane. In reality, the share of climate-friendly mining may be higher. A common misconception is comparing Bitcoin's energy per transaction to Visa's. This is misleading. Most of Bitcoin's electricity is used to secure the network, not process individual transactions. With Layer 2 solutions such as the Lightning Network, millions of transactions can be bundled into a single on-chain transaction, meaning energy use does not scale linearly with activity. Bitcoin's energy consumption is also unlikely to grow endlessly. As block rewards decrease with each halving, miner competition cools, naturally limiting future power use. The idea that Bitcoin will consume all the world's energy is simply false. While Bitcoin is not a perfect technology, its emissions can shrink dramatically as mining transitions toward renewable and nuclear power. But more importantly, Bitcoin mining may even become a net positive for the climate. Mining can help renewable energy providers by absorbing surplus energy, electricity that often goes to waste because power grids must stay perfectly balanced. Bitcoin miners can stabilize these grids by buying excess renewable energy that would otherwise be unused. Even more promising, many miners now use waste methane from oil fields, landfills, and agriculture. Methane is far more potent than carbon dioxide, and converting it into electricity for mining prevents it from entering the atmosphere. This process can measurably slow global warming and buy time in the fight against climate change. This is only scratching the surface of how Bitcoin might become climate positive. While it's not a silver bullet, it's also far from the environmental menace it is often portrayed to be. What do you think about Bitcoin's environmental impact? And what changes, if any, should miners adopt? If you want to learn more about Bitcoin's journey, leave us a comment. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to always be informed once we upload a new video.